now we'll talk about two kinds of citations that I do, okay, and you'll see them in the law, okay. What this is this is an actual citation. You'll notice it's in quotation marks, okay, and so what I do sometimes is I have a summary, okay, because sometimes a court case will say something in 10 pages, okay, and so it's hard to put a citation like that on one screen and even try and explain it other than to summarize it. And so this is an actual citation. It says, but the subpoena is in the form of an official command, and even though improvidently issued, it has some coercive tendency, either because of ignorance of their rights on the part of those whom it purports to command, or their natural respect for what appears to be an official command, or because of their reluctance to test the subpoena's validity by litigation. Okay, and so that is the actual citation. Now, the summary, I like the summary, and so this is a case where I would probably use a summary, but you notice it's not in quotation marks either. But it says, because of their respect for what appears to be a law, many people are cunningly coerced into waiving their rights due to ignorance. I don't know, I think that says it way better. But so you'll see that, and then and the reason I put this in here is because I was using summaries, and somebody called me on it. They said, well, I can't find that in this court case, and so now I just put this stuff in here to head them off the pass. Anyways, okay, so this is actually from Penhallow versus Doan's Administrator, 1795. A distinction was taken at the bar between a state and the people of the state. It is a distinction I'm not capable of comprehending, and then it actually goes into a 2-page diatribe on saying why he can't comprehend it, okay? But I like the summary way better, and it's much shorter. It says, inasmuch as every government is an artificial person, an abstraction, and a creature of the mind only, a government can interface only with other artificial persons. The imaginary, having neither actuality nor substance, is foreclosed from creating and attaining parity with the tangible. The legal manifestation of this is that no government, as well as any law, agency, aspect, court itself, etc., can concern itself with anything other than corporate artificial persons and the contracts between them. Okay, remember, there's nothing the government can do to affect we the people. That's really what it comes down to. There is nothing the government can do to affect we the people. If they're communicating to you, they're not communicating to you. They're communicating to a corporation that you set up out of your ignorance of the law. And that's what you need to understand. And so then you need to deal with it that way. And once you start laying the foundation, they won't even try and communicate with you. If you lay that's why I said, if the cops see you and you've established yourself as being the sovereign, they will turn and run the other direction. This is from a book that's called The Non-Ratification of the 14th Amendment by this Judge A.H. Ellich of the Utah Supreme Court. And this was used in a case called Diet versus Turner. Anyways, if a citizen acquires the same legal status as those protected by the amendment through the operation of some statutory law of Congress, then said citizen may be brought within the venue of the amendment as a statutory juristic person. By this means, citizens' birthrights become of no effect, and their rights are reduced to the inferior character of statutory civil rights, okay? Civil rights are mere legislative privileges. Okay, and so this is. Remember, I was telling you, the courts view it to be a contract, and that's what he's talking about. If a citizen acquires the same legal status as those protected by the amendment, then said citizen may be brought within the venue of the amendment. Okay, and so it's a contract. You've agreed to it, and that court case, we're going to have a lot of stuff on that court case, and we'll talk about how it's by consent. You have to agree to it. It's by consent. All we have to do is learn how to quit consenting. This is some statutes. These are Canadian. This is a Canadian statute. But a lot of this stuff is very typical in the U.S. We'll go through some U.S. statutes too. Canada, for greater certainty, includes the internal waters of Canada and the territorial sea of Canada. So then, is there anything in Canada that's on the land?
Doesn't sound like it.
It's not. I can tell you for sure. Okay, so then, yeah, exactly. I'm not on the sea. What's that got to do with me? Person, or any word or expression descriptive of a person, includes a corporation. So then, does that have anything to do with living souls?
No.
Person includes, this is interpretation of Alberta. Person includes a corporation, heirs, executors, administrators, or other legal representatives of a person. Does that have anything to do with living souls? This is in the criminal code. Every one person and owner and similar expressions include Her Majesty and an organization. Okay, so does that have anything to do with living souls? So then based on that, although they get into some real wordsmithing when they get into some of these common law offenses, okay? And if you read some of the common law offenses, they actually could come and get you, you know, like if you commit murder or something like that. So these lawyers lay awake at night dreaming this stuff up, you know. But there's nothing in the criminal code that applies to living souls, and that's in Canada. This one's actually correct. And this is why you don't want to be in a municipality, in a corporation. Municipality includes the corporation of a city, town, village, county, township, parish, or other territorial or local subdivision of province, the inhabitants of which are incorporated or are entitled to hold property collectively for a public purpose. Okay? So, you don't want to be in the county of Parker. Okay? I guarantee you, if you file a lawsuit down here in the court, it won't be Parker County. It'll be the county of Parker. Okay? If you deal with Weatherford, okay, it'll be the city of Weatherford. Okay? There's a thing about English. Okay? And this is something that other people have learned, because I'm not an expert at English, quite frankly. But under the rules of English, with a proper noun, okay, the proper noun has to precede the adjective. Okay, so in other words, the proper noun is Parker, and the adjective that describes the Parker noun is county, right? So Parker County, that's common law. Okay, but when they go county of Parker, that's not good English. That's bad English, and so therefore that's a fiction. That doesn't exist. It's a fiction. Okay, so when they say county of Parker, that is a fiction. Okay, or city of Weatherford. Okay, that's a fiction. City of Fort Worth, city of Dallas, city of Keller. Okay, city of Azle. Those are all fictions. Okay, you don't want to be city of Azle. Okay, or state of Texas. Okay, you're Texas State. Okay, or Texas Republic. Okay, you could actually say Republic of Texas too. That would be okay, but Republic would not be capitalized. Okay, if you look on the old Republic of Texas Charter, Constitution, Republic, the word Republic is not capitalized. The same thing with United States. If you look in the United States Constitution, the word United is not capitalized. Okay, I mean, capitalization is very important, and it's words. They have us on words every time, and we have to understand these words and how they're used, and we need to understand, you know, what's happening. So the important thing is that you don't want to be in a corporation. If you're in a corporation, then you are a corporation.
Does that mean all capitals or just first letter capitalized?
That means the first letter capitalized. Okay. All capitals is even worse. Okay. But even the first letter capitalized, it's still a corporation. So you don't want to be in a corporation. Okay, you don't want to be in a corporation, because then you're also a corporation. Now, I haven't seen any U.S. stuff similar, but the principle still applies. Thank you. Driver. Driver means a person. This is in the Alberta Traffic Safety Act for Alberta. Driver's a person. And in fact, the cop stopped me in Alberta, and that was what I showed him. I showed him that. I said, first of all, a person is a corporation, and a driver's a person. So I'm not a driver. And so I don't need a driver's license. And the cop said, have a nice day. And that was after I kind of went around with him for a while. and we talked about some things and I actually told him, look, if you're going to violate my rights, you need to be prepared to take me over there and blow my brains out, because by the time I'm done with you, you're going to wish you did, and I did it all within the law. But that was before I told him, I want you to know that I appreciate the work you do. And I don't want you to take what I'm telling you personally, because I do appreciate the work you do. We need people to hunt down murderers and thieves. And when he left, he actually told me, thank you for your comments about appreciating what we do. Because I've been working for the city for 14 years and all the rest of it, eh? So I mean, you know, again, we need people doing that job. And I know I couldn't do it, okay? Because I start thinking everybody's a crook, probably. You see what I'm saying? And that's another thing I tell them if I have to, if it comes to that. But so we need people to do that. We just need them honoring their oath of office. That's what we need them doing. This is Section 14 of the Interpretation Act of Alberta. No enactment is binding on Her Majesty or affect Her Majesty's rights or prerogatives. Okay, remember that word, prerogatives? Prerogative rights, right? In an enactment, an owner includes a person. Okay, that's in BC Motor Vehicle Act. Ontario, okay, every state I've been in that I've done this kind of research, I always find the same kind of stuff. Okay, it's worded a little bit different. It's a different lawyer that's putting it together. But it's all the same. In every act and regulation, person includes a corporation. In this act, driver means a person. Okay? Highway Traffic Act of Ontario. Public Utilities Act, and this is consistent too. Okay, this is Ontario. This talks about if any person supplied with any public utility neglects to pay, okay, tells how they can disconnect the person. Well, I can tell you that I know a guy in Alberta that what he does is they will send him a utility bill and they'll spell his name in all block capital letters and put a postal code there, okay, because this is Alberta. They'll put a postal code on it and he'll write on the outside, refuse for fraud, and send it back to him, and then he'll immediately call him up and say, you know, I really want to pay this bill, but you spelt the name in all block capital letters and you put a postal code on there, and that's to a corporation, and I'm not a corporation, and I'm a Christian minister, and for me to hold myself out as a corporation is an affront to God, and I have a sincerely held religious belief not to be a corporation, and so if you want to spell the name in upper and lower case and take the postal code off of there, then I'll be happy to pay the bill. And one of two things will happen. If one of them is that they'll send it with upper and lower case and no postal code, but then there'll be no taxes on the bill. Okay? And he'll pay it without the taxes. Okay? The other one is they'll spell it in all block capital letters and send it back the next month, and then the next month he calls them up and says, same thing, okay? I'd really like to pay this bill, but you guys, he writes on it, refuse for fraud. I'd really like to pay this bill, and if you guys send it to me in upper and lower case with no postal code, I'll be happy to pay it. And 16 months later, he's still getting the electric service. 16 months later, they're still sending it to him. 16 months later, he's calling them up every month saying, I really want to pay this bill. And then he moves. And so he has to get it disconnected and hooked up somewhere else, right? And they forgive him the bill. Yeah. And so the point is that there's a couple things operating here. First of all, number one, if you're the king, this goes to the idea that under Tim Turner's stuff, okay, for the sovereigns, everything is prepaid, and this contributes to that idea. It probably is. The question is how to access that account. You see what I'm saying? And so because they don't have the authority to disconnect from a living soul, they can't. You see what I'm saying? They can only disconnect from a person. And so again, from the sovereign is all prepaid. Number one. Number two is he's offering to pay the bill. Okay, I want to pay it. So even in their system, if you offer to pay it and they don't accept it, then it's paid. You see? So there's two things going on. It's hard to say which one is having more effect, but it works.
Let's try that one. Okay.
So again, you know, and this is one of the things I tell people. I don't know everything. Okay? What we need to start doing is start thinking outside the box. Okay? And start experimenting with different things. And I'm sure there's stuff that you guys are going to think of that I would never dream of. And so it's, you know, by myself, and this is the reason I do this, okay, is because by myself, I can't, the only reason I'm able to do stuff is because of what other people have done. Okay, and so we need to work together and coordinate our activities, and we can take our government back, okay, because it is our government. Okay, we can literally take it back and start operating it and have de jure government and have all the rights of the king and queen, but we cannot do it by ourselves. It's got to be together, and that's why I do this, because I'm trying to educate people and get them to be doing the same things. And I'm sure there's things that you're going to come up with that I would have never thought about, and when I hear stuff, I'll be spreading it around, like that letter from that Arizona senator. Okay, you saw that. Has everybody got a copy of that? This is a letter from an Arizona senator by the name of Wayne Stump. This is apostilled, which makes it ready for international commerce. Does anybody else want a copy? Did you get a copy? Anyways, this letter, if you read it, I'll leave you a copy here there, Mason. Anyways, if you read it, you will see that this letter was sent out in 1985. I've known about this letter since the mid-90s. But this is the first time I got a copy of the apostilled version. And this talks about freemen traveling on the land of Arizona and have rescinded all their contracts with the state and federal government, and therefore they won't have evidence of driver's license and registration and insurance, and I want to make sure there's no confrontations between these people and law enforcement personnel. I mean, we do have good people that are in public office, okay? And again, it comes down to the burdens on we the people to understand the law, understand the issues, educate our public officials. That's really what it comes down to. It's, if we have bad government, it's because we deserve it. If we have good government, it's because we deserve it. Anyways, this is the Indian Act. Did you know an Indian's a person? And an elector's a person. Yeah, so you don't want to be an elector either. The words, this is Title I, United States Code. This is positive law. The word person and whoever include corporations, companies, firms, partnerships, societies, joint stock companies, as well as individuals. Well, okay, so we all know what an individual is, don't we? Texas Transportation Code. Person means an individual, firm, partnership, association, or corporation. Okay, well, again, it's a fictitious entity. Person includes, this is a Texas Government Code. Person includes a corporation, organization, government, governmental subdivision, agency, business trust, estate, trust, partnership, association, or any other legal entity. Okay, again, is that living souls? Or anything that even remotely describes a living soul? Operator, Texas Transportation Code is a person. Police officer means an officer authorized to direct traffic or arrest persons. Okay, well, so they don't even have authorization to stop me. I think that's why they put me down as sovereign in their system, because they're saying, you know, and there was actually this guy, and I can't remember who it was, but this was 2 or 3 years ago when I was living in here in Texas before I went to New York. There was a guy that came up to me and told me that a cop came up to him and said, quote, "Why is my computer telling me to leave you alone?" Unquote. Okay. Well, obviously that's probably what the cops, their computers telling them to do about me too, because, you know, again, that one DPS officer said that I'm listed as sovereign in their system, and they don't stop me. I mean, knock on wood, it's not like I go around looking to get stopped either. But I mean, they don't stop me. And there's times like when they found me, when they came to visit me, I was in my RV in an RV park out by Sanger, right? And I was doing about 80 miles an hour in a 65, so I was speeding. And I was passing this guy, and I was in the slow lane. Okay, he was in the fast lane, and I was passing him, I was in the slow lane. And we came over this rise, and there was a cop there, a highway patrol. And he came around after us, and I took my foot off the gas. I never touched the gas. And I slowed down to 65. He stopped the guy next to me. He didn't stop me. and I was passing him. Anywhere else they would have stopped me, you know, but I can't tell you how many times that's happened. When I was in New York, I was doing 85 and a 55 one time. And I really wasn't going any faster than the rest of the traffic. But I was the guy out front. And I come around this corner, and there's a highway patrol there, right? And I had already noticed the superintendent of the highway patrol. And they have scanners. They can see, they can pull up your name and everything on their computer just like that, you know. I've seen YouTube videos about it. But, so anyways, I come around this corner and there's a highway patrol there and he turns his cherries on, right? And so I slowed down and he didn't come after me. And I was doing 85 and a 55. Same thing happened another time. I was doing 80. I had my cruise set. I wasn't even trying to follow the speed limit. I had my cruise set. I was doing 80 and a 65. And it was 4 o'clock in the morning. There was hardly no traffic, right? And there was another guy next to me in the slow lane, and he was probably doing about 77 because I was just inching past him, you know. And so anyways, I was inching past him. This car comes ripping up behind me so fast I couldn't believe it. His headlights disappeared behind my tailgate. Okay, he was right on my bumper, and I just left my cruise set and I inched past this guy and pulled over in the slow lane, and then he took off, and it was a cop. Yeah, no joke, right? But so I guess, you know, they have me, you know, don't mess with this guy. I don't know. But it's not like I looked to get stopped either. It's like that was kind of unusual, you know. Anyways, but the police officers are only authorized to arrest persons. State. Now this is some wordsmithing by these lawyers, eh? When referring to a part of the United States, includes any state, district, commonwealth, territory, insular possession of the United States in any area subject to the legislative authority of the United States. Well, does that mean Texas? Think about it. That doesn't mean Texas. Matter of fact, if you go into the United States Code, what that means is District of Columbia, Guam, American Samoa, and Puerto Rico. That's what it means. And it doesn't mean Texas or Arizona or any of the states. United States includes any department, bureau, or other agency of the United States. Yeah, that's probably correct. State has the meaning assigned by Section 311.005 of the Government Code, which includes the province of Canada. Well, you know, if you look up in Canada, in the Canadian Interpretation Act, a province of Canada, do you know what it says a province of Canada is? A province of Canada is Northwest Territories, Yukon Territory, and Nunavut. Okay? It doesn't say anything about Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, any of the other provinces. So, and that's correct, okay, because they're actually states. They call it province, but they're actually states. And there's court cases that talk about that. And so that's consistent with the U.S. because, again, they're territories, and the U.S. is the same thing, okay? The territories of the United States are part of the United States, but Arizona is not part of the United States. Neither is Texas. Neither is New Mexico, okay? They're not part of the United States. The United States is the District of Columbia, Guam, American Samoa, and Puerto Rico. That's it. Nothing else. Oh, maybe American Samoa, you know, but it's the territories. Virgin Islands, okay? Virgin Islands. I knew I missed something. But the point is that this is not United States, okay? This is Texas, and there's a difference.